Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thanks once again for joining me. I'm your host, Derek Lane, another edition of the Fast Lane, the podcast for success. I appreciate your listenership, and once again, thank you. Hey, a lot of craziness going on in the world right now. So I thought maybe we would just kind of talk about some of the things that we should be doing regardless of our situation. And that's to broaden our mindset, to maybe open up to new possibilities, to discover things about ourselves and maybe, people in our life by taking the opportunity and the time that is afforded to a lot of us going through, some of these, troubling times that we're in. When I talk about discovering yourself, I'm talking about learning who you are and some of the gifts that you have as a person that maybe you haven't explored. I know that for the most part, when you grow up and you go through your adolescence and your adulthood, you naturally gravitate to the things that you like and the things that interest you. But along the way, it's kind of how you didn't like broccoli as a kid, but now you love broccoli. Well, some of us do. It's time to kind of go back and rethink some of the things that you think you don't like. Rethink some of the things that may provide an opportunity for you to expand your horizon, to expand your thought. I would encourage you to spend some time while you've got it on your hands right now to read, invest into yourself, and wholeheartedly think about what you're reading. I know that a lot of us read for the enjoyment, the pleasure of reading and a good story, but there are so many autobiographies and biographies out there about really smart people that have a lot of smart ideas and that can challenge the way that you think, and that's the beauty of it. Once you start to challenge the way you think, it opens up new venues and new areas for you to consider. And then that's when you start to become a more enlightened person, a more rounded person. Your thinking becomes more mature, even deep, as a well-read person should be. So I would encourage you to do a lot of reading, to always, this, pen and paper, jot down ideas, work on your vocabulary. If you hear a word, I know there's a lot of people tuned into the television and the news. If you hear words that you're like, I'm not sure what that means, write it down. Then go look it up. See if it's a word that you want to use. It may not be, but it may be. You may present an idea to you that go, I see how I could be using that word instead of more simplistic terms that we often become ingrained in, because if we don't consciously expand our vocabulary, then we're spilling the same words over and over and over, and that doesn't present any new ideas, any new challenges in our brain. We're kind of running over the same things. So that's why it's important for you to create new, to understand new words. It starts to unlock ideas. Okay. So by reading something that you may not like, the old broccoli versus the new broccoli, as it were, it can kind of jumpstart you, can kind of get you going in a new direction. And, you may get into something and give it a try, and it still tastes bad. Still don't like it. It still tastes like old broccoli. Well, try something else. That's okay. Try something different. Try something just a little different, and ask. When you go to a new restaurant or you go to a new city and you try a new restaurant, and what do you typically do when you go to those restaurants? You ask, hey, what is good? What do you recommend? And people will give you ideas. The same thing in your life. If you kind of get stuck and I don't know what I want to read. I don't know. I don't want it to be completely about textbook learning. Well, that's okay. That's why so many people enjoy book clubs, because you get the benefit of your friends saying, oh, I read this, and it really turned out to be great. I make it a habit that when I meet someone, a client or what have you, even if it's just someone in a shopping center or market, and they're carrying a book with them, I always ask that person, "What are you reading? Tell me about what you're reading." And not only do I get an insight into what they're reading, is it something that maybe I would be interested in? And I've picked up a lot of good books from people through what they're currently reading, or an offshoot of what they're reading, and it's been very helpful and very entertaining, and I've really enjoyed it. And that's just by being kind of an outgoing, "Hey, what are you reading?" And secondly, you wouldn't believe how much of a conversation starter that is with people, because number one, the first thing you've done is you've taken an interest in them. When you talk about somebody and you find somebody with a book and you start asking them about their book, you've just tapped into their likes, their mindset. You've in a roundabout way, you've dipped into who they are, and you said, "Tell me about you," and they open up and they gush about it. I've had people hand me their book. No lie. I've had people hand me their book. "Here, I like this so much and I've read it. Here, I want you to read it." And, I don't look for that, don't want that, but I've had a couple occasions where people are just so insistent. And then, so there's, you may go, "Oh, I'm not comfortable with that, and I wouldn't want that to happen." But you know what? If you've taken the opportunity to take an interest in that person and then they offer you a gift, it's almost insulting if you then don't take it. It's almost insulting if it's like you've just kind of lied to them. You've said, "Hey, I'm interested in you and what you're reading, but not enough to accept your gift." So be okay with that. Be sincere with people. It goes a long way. And when you get an opportunity to mingle and mix with people, it's always a good thing. And again, opens up horizons, opens up doors, and creates opportunities for you. I've met people that we just strike up conversations. I always have a business card with me. And by the way, I have a few different business cards. Not that I have a few different businesses, but I have a few different cards. I have a personal card. Here, this is who I am. This is my phone number. If you'd like to chat sometime, just let me know. If you want to grab coffee sometime, let me know. That's how you interact in the world. That's how you network. You get to know people. You let them know that you care enough about what they're interested in and what they have to say, because once you learn the art of listening, you've learned the art of communication. It's not always about what you have to say and about the message you're trying to deliver. It's about receiving the message and allowing messages to come in to your being, to your stratosphere, if you were. So take the time to invest not only in yourself by reading, like I'm suggesting, but invest into other people by being interested in what they're reading, or their arts, or their gifts. I myself, I really like music, and if I see somebody with a guitar, "Oh, hey, you play guitar, great. What is your genre? What do you like? Rock, country, classic, jazz, whatever it is." And you talk shop. And when you identify with people, and it doesn't even have to be something that you're that familiar with. If I don't know how to play saxophone, but if I saw somebody with a saxophone, I'd be like, "Oh, cool. What type of music do you play?" Because I like music. I don't necessarily have to play the saxophone to enjoy the saxophone, and I can have an engaging conversation. And do you play professionally or just amateurishly? If I said that right. Where, when, and with whom, and how often, whatever the case may be. But what I'm trying to convey to you is that you're missing opportunities if you don't take the opportunity that's in front of you. Now, you don't absolutely have to go out every time you leave the house and you're out on the street. You don't have to engage with every single person. People are busy. Sometimes it feels like maybe you're accosting them. Don't. It's just something that should be natural. If you smile at someone, they smile back. You nod your head like, "How's it going?" "Great." And they do the same thing. "Okay, hey, how's it going?" "Great." If you get a good response, "Hey, great, man. Thanks for asking." Natural engagement. If you see someone with a book in their hand, and you're like, "Hey, how's it going?" They're like, "I'm so stressed out, man." Okay, it's probably not the time to ask them about their book. If they're short or curt with you, just let it go. I mean, they probably got some underlying thing that's going on that's pressing in their life, and they don't want to talk to you about their book right now. So understand the importance of knowing when to engage with people, just as much as the ability to engage with people, because that's important. You don't want to stress people out even further, because these are stressful times, and we're going to get through them. Yes, we will. Okay. Well, listen, kind of a short one again, but that's okay. Just wanted to let you know that, hey, there are things that you can do. There are things that matter, that can make you allow yourself to continue to grow as a person and to grow as a human being and share ideas. This world that we live in, the World Wide Web is an example of the worldwide mind. As connected as we are through the internet, through the electronics that we own, our spirituality is connected. You just don't see it like you do in the internet, but it's still connected. So what you want to receive should be what you put out. What you want coming into your life should be what you're putting out, because that's the only way you're going to connect with like-minded people. See, if I put out nasty vibes, guess what I'm getting back? Nasty vibes. If I put out positive, spiritual, uplifting vibes, and I have a high frequency, radiating, guess what I'm getting back? Yeah, positive energy, high resonating vibrations that help me attract like-minded people. Anyway, so with that, thanks again for joining me, and I appreciate the listenership as always. Derek at FastLanePodcast.com. Derek at FastLanePodcast.com. Send me a message. If you've not sent me a message, just jot it down, just say hi. I want to see how many people will actually do that. Just say hi, nothing more. I mean, unless you want to, but at least go, hi, hello, listen to the podcast, whatever. Hello, I shared the podcast. I told my buddy, I told my friend, I told my wife, I told my husband, whatever the case may be. Or just, hello. Guys, thanks so much for listening, and thanks for being there with the Fast Lane. And hopefully this helps a little bit, and we continue on our path to success.